Welcome back. We're talking with Whitney French from the Farnsworth House in Plano and talking about some of the famous visitors to the Farnsworth House, including Brad Pitt and Kenny Chesney.
Those were a couple of good days, I must say. It's always interesting. We get a lot of celebrity photo shoot requests, a lot of magazines that request the house as a backdrop. We just recently almost had another to report this year, but we're not sure yet whether it's going to go through or not. But yes, Kenny Chesney filmed his Don't Blink video on the property. We filmed overnight for about 12 hours, and that was fun and fascinating. And my daughter recently went to a Kenny Chesney concert, and it was playing on the video in the backdrop of the stage, so that's exciting for us. And Brad Pitt was with us for about 2 days. We filmed a commercial. He represents a Japanese jeans company called Edwin Jeans, and so he was there for about 2 days filming that commercial. An incredibly polite and very tall young man.
Now, obviously, you have to keep the doors open, so you have to make money, and one of the ways you do that is by charging as a backdrop.
Yes, the admission system pays for the majority of our operation, and if we have any overage from the admissions process that we, the fee that we charge for standard tours, that money gets applied towards our restoration work. The rest of the restoration money, we have to go out and pound the pavement and raise by hand. And we do that through a variety of means. We have a very small staff on site, but we are backed by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and we have some great, very powerful philanthropists in Chicago that support the efforts, so they're always very helpful as well. The tour program itself, we charge, we're open from April through November and have to kind of wrap things up a little bit in the winter because it gets a little difficult to assure access to the house once the river rises and ice freezes on the paths. But we do open April through November, Tuesday through Sunday, and we have yet to go on any day that we're open without at least some tours on the program, and some days completely full.
Now, when we spoke off camera, you shared with me that you've had visitors from over 30 different countries this year.
Actually 50 this year. I think one of these days I'm going to try to compile and see what the gamut is. We're probably at around 75 countries. And it's not just single visitors. We usually have between 400 and 500 visitors from Spain, where Mies designed a building called the Barcelona Pavilion for the 1929 World Exposition that was held in Barcelona, Spain. And they're huge fans of this type of architecture. And so we get not only great, university groups that come in the 30 and 40 range, 30 or 40 people per group, but also a lot of individuals. So that all compiles up to, not just that Spain is represented, but that 500 visitors from Spain come every year.
Tell me a little bit about the tour. How long does it take? Is it self-guided? Do you actually have...
We have docents, volunteers that are interested in participating in the program. We have a minor training program. We work with you and get you up to speed till you're comfortable. Most of our docents do the work because they love the experience so much. Every tour is fascinating. Every visitor has a story to tell. They come from around the world. They're interesting, they're intriguing, they have great questions, and they're so mesmerized by the process. The tour itself, our standard tour, is a guided tour that lasts between 60 and 90 minutes. We also show a 30-minute video in our visitor center. There's a bit of an opportunity to shop for some modern product and for some Farnsworth House specific product in our visitor center. You get a beautiful experience along the Fox River in a wooded setting. It's usually quite peaceful, and most of our days are beautiful. We do get the occasional rainstorm or difficult time. But we do 3 tours a day on the weekdays and 6 on the weekends, and those are limited to 20 people on a tour unless it's a group asking for a specific private spot on our tour program, so that we limit the tour quantity, the quantity of people on the tour, just so that everyone can have a really nice and personal experience with the space.
And so there's enough of the season left that people, do you suggest they buy tickets in advance?
The tickets are reduced in advance. The tickets are $21 if you reserve your tickets online, and $25 if you come in and buy them at the property. And that's always a risk, because we do have days where we close down to host Brad Pitt and Kenny Chesney, and the occasional wedding or private group tours. And we have days where we're fully booked. So it's always advised that you reserve in advance. The nice thing about being a local resident is if you're swinging by and you see the gates open, pop in, and if we can fit you on a tour, we certainly will. and I guarantee you'll enjoy the experience.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that volunteer opportunity, because the docents, are most of them from the Kendall County area?
We have about 50-50. About 50 of them I would consider, you know, Kendall to DuPage native, and then the rest come from the city. We have a couple that travel great distances. We have a few docents that come down from Wisconsin or up from Peoria, and they'll come and visit us 4 or 5 times a year and spend a day with us and entertain our guests, and really must love it if they come that great distance. But we're always looking for new docents. We do a really significant training effort in February and March and into April. And then we'll spot train a little bit if people show an interest through the summer. It's just a little bit difficult for us to resource those additional trainings. And then we just ask for a day or two a month. Some of our docents volunteer for 5 or 10 days a month, and others we see once a month, and we're quite happy with that. It wouldn't be possible to do what we do without the volunteers that we have.
You talked about private parties. What kind of private parties do you have, and at what cost is that?
Well, we'll do, you know, it's all dependent. It's a very specific to the need. We'll host a dinner. This year we hosted, we had a graduate of the Art Institute's master's program, and she was celebrating a birthday as well. She threw herself a little soiree down at the house, invited about 30 of her closer friends, and they enjoyed cocktails before going out to dinner. Right after their visit to the Farnsworth House. And we host weddings. That price starts at about $2,500 just to rent the site, and usually it's just for the ceremony. And it really all depends on how much of our regular revenue we're going to be displacing. We're not trying to profit on those events so much as just not lose revenue from our tour program that is, you know, very critical to our being able to sustain ourselves through the year.
Now, being a little familiar with the site, where are the parking facilities?
The parking facilities are at our visitor center. We're a little bit limited, although last year we hosted a free day in an attempt to get about 500 of the county residents to become more familiar with this prize that they have in their backyard. We had an overwhelming response. More than 2,000 people saw the house that day. I think we turned about 1,000 away. And on that particular occasion, the farmer across the road was quite courteous and let us park in his farm field for the day. But our standard parking facility is right at the visitor center, which is towards the east end of the property.
We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I have to ask, because you've brought it up, the river and the 100-year flood and how we've exceeded that on numerous occasions. What is in the future with the relationship between the house and the river?
Well, it's critical. The river is a critical component to understanding the proportions that the architect was so skilled with. And so to remove the view of the river would be catastrophically destructive. Certainly, the river brings its share of problems. I'm working right now with the University of Delft, which is in the Netherlands. They, by all means, are probably one of the best equipped to help us negotiate our flood mitigation issues. And we're always looking for ideas from the general public. A lot of engineers and architects have contributed ideas, and we hope within the next 2 years we'll have a plan to prevent the onslaught of floods that reach the inside and create the destruction.
Because not this year, but the year before, 2009, you had some serious...
2008, actually. It's been 2 years.
Okay.
We had a flood in August of 2008, the week after Mr. Pitt was in residence. I kind of give them a little credit. They created rain for their film shoot on a beautiful sunny day, and so I think that they got their wish the week later, and we got more rain than we'd bargained for. About 13 inches inside the house. We do have flood insurance, and we have been offered some grants and raised some money, and we're working on repairing the damage, which is really substructural and not obvious to the visitor's eye, but we're working on those projects now.
Well, if you haven't been there, and I have not, I would strongly encourage our viewers to take a visit to the Farnsworth House. It's a wonderful place, and it sounds like you have a fascinating job.
It is, and it's the best time of year right now as the fall colors begin to emerge. The reason for the house becomes apparent. Your eye is drawn outside, and that's the intent.
All right. We're out of time. Thank you. It's all our time. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cindy Bravos. We'll see you next time.